right, check it out, you guys. Silver stacking strategy here. Got some of these 0.999 fine buffalo rounds. There we go. Got a few of those. Got that Mayan calendar coin I was showing, or round technically, not a coin. And you know, some of my treasure hoard here. I have a sort of unconventional approach to just about everything in life, and silver stacking is no exception. Although, with that, I'm not unconventional, I'm just following multiple conventions, perhaps you'd say. But anyway, yeah, I buy some of that, but I also like to buy this kind of stuff. Go treasure hunting, because I really enjoy treasure hunting. That there, I don't think you can see it, but it says sterling on there. Got it for $4, which might be how much, like the actual silver value in today's spot prices. But then I got a pair of these, which also say sterling down there on the bottom. But these are sterling silver 925 candlesticks, and they're weighted, so they're heavier than the silver weight. Now the funny thing with those is that they're worth about $100 for the pair. I paid $14 for the pair, and you know, they're worth way more intact than they are for their scrap value, which is true, you know, of all this stuff really. Besides maybe this piece, this is a ton of tin, but not a very great piece. You know, other things, that tin, heavy, but a nice piece, so no way I'm gonna melt that. Some nice pewter mugs, little silver plate, much more pewter stuff. You know, this little bell, I knew it was probably only plate, not sterling, even though it's deceptively sterling looking. It's not marked anywhere, so that's a good indication. But also, I knew I wanted it anyway because it's beautiful sounding. I like bells. I want to make some bells. In some future videos, you'll see some things about that. But what I like about this is that it's got silver in all the right places. Like that might be like pure silver, hard to say. But that sound, that ringing sound. Basically, when you're looking for silver in the store and you're flicking it and rubbing it and trying to go through all of the list of characteristics, that sound, that really high pitched ring, that's what you're looking for. So that's why you need a little silver if you're going to make some bells, which is what I'll be doing with my scrap silver. Making the little dinger dangers out of it, or at least plating them in it. But yeah, my approach to silver stacking is a little bit different. I'm kind of thinking a lot about owning nice things, and also those nice things being worth something, not just the brand name on them. And you know, you got trade value there, but basically, you know, with any kind of precious metal scrap, the thing is worth more for what it is than it's worth for the scrap. So I don't just go melting this stuff willy-nilly. I melt the really ugly stuff or really beat up broken stuff, but otherwise I'm trying to keep it, you know, in nice shape. Maybe trade it, maybe keep it. I like having a pair of silver candlesticks. I think I will probably keep those forever. Not a lot of motivation to sell them or to melt them, No, not when you can get silver rounds, pure silver. Just melt that. I mean, I'll probably melt this before I melt any of this cool hollowware or decor. But yeah, you know, that's the way to think about precious metals, I think, is their value for what they are as a finished piece, not the weight, but you got to factor that in, make sure you don't pay too much for scrap, all that good stuff. But you know, I'm about to shift my weekly silver purchasing budget in a different direction, and this is really where my head is at with life and this whole channel. That stuff right there, that's Lugol's solution, which is potassium iodide and iodine. And you know, in this esoteric gardening series, this is what it's all about: the health and wellness. You know, you can't really buy that. Well, sort of can. You can buy the stuff to have that, but you don't just get it automatically. You can buy silver, precious metals, but you can't eat that stuff. And like anyone will tell you, you know, veterans or old school guys, they're like, I mean, if you're thinking you're collecting up precious metal for, you know, shit hitting the fan, well, just think about this: you can't eat metal. So what are you going to do about that? The way I look at it is you're more likely to be able to trade precious metal for something to eat than anything else in a shit hits the fan sort of scenario. But even still, yeah, I agree with that. You know, what are you going to do with metal if you're really, really, really hungry and there's no food and there's not going to be any food? What do you do? So, you know, something to think about. You know, I might be all over the place a little bit or seem scattered, but trust me, I don't feel all over the place or scattered, despite being all over the place and scattered all the time. Literally, got a million different things going on, and I'm all over the place, you know, working out of state and stuff. But, yeah, you know, my approach is very holistic. I'm going to talk about all kinds of things on this channel that, you know, aren't specified, aren't specialized. Like, this isn't a channel for, you know, one thing, unless that one thing is the one thing of being and doing many, many things. That's my thing. You know, I operate based on a lot of intuition combined with a lot of research. Basically, intuition plus intelligence, or think right brain, left brain, or something like that. You know, logical, abstract. So, yeah, I operate based on intuition, mostly. There's a funny thing about the concept of intuition. You know, a lot of people will open up something when they're going to explain it, and they're like, you know, it's kind of counterintuitive, but yada, yada, yada. Well, I think that term is pretty funny, because if someone says that, I feel like it either means they think who they're speaking to doesn't have intuition, or that maybe they themselves don't have intuition and have more logic than intuition. Logic's a good thing, for sure. But reality is once you learn about a lot of this stuff, it goes contrary to popular belief, but it is not counterintuitive for the most part. There are some things that remain counterintuitive, but not really. They're counter logic for the most part. So anyway, for me, stacking silver isn't about money so much. It's maybe a little bit about protecting from inflation, you know, a little bit. It's a lot about, you know, looking into the properties of silver, antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal kind of characteristics of certain metals. And that's what I'm really interested in, is the chemistry and what I can use it for in that way. But yeah, you know, can't eat metal. And if it's pretty, you're really just making me want to throw up when you film yourself melting it or scrapping it. I don't want to be that guy. I like to keep my stuff looking cool. And, you know, I want to do a bunch of bronze casting, as I've said before. But you need a lot of tin to do that. And a lot of the stuff that's on that treasure shelf hoard thing there is tin. But, I don't know. Most of that is really cool looking, so you won't see me melt that unless fucking shit hits the fan and I'm still making art or bronze swords for some shit reason. I don't know. But it's still cool to collect it. I'm noticing right now, in particular, the thrift store was ripe. I found all the sterling scrap, all the sterling that I showed on that shelf. I found that today at a Goodwill for dirt cheap. It's like the spring cleaning is hit. And everyone's out there just fucking throw it away. Precious stuff. So get at it, you know. We'll get you some cool stuff that also has a functional purpose, maybe even a medicinal purpose, you know, if it's silver on copper vessels for food and whatnot. Like, there's something there. There's some esoteric knowledge there to be unpacked. You know, when it comes to metals and body chemistry and consumption and all that, I think it's a bad idea to just go making hard claims about, you know, what the science says, because if you look into anything, you'll find that there are kind of always kind of a 50-50, you know, for and against camps with all of this stuff. So you really got to figure it out for yourself, figure out how those concepts connect to other concepts and how it proves out, you know, a much bigger concept than whatever it is you're researching. But yeah, I'm gonna hold back on stacking silver rounds, and I'm going to stack a big stash of Lugol solution, iodine, because that has changed my life. It has impacted my health more than any single other decision I've made, and I've made a lot of health decisions, despite what it might look like. You know, eating vegetables mostly, backing way off the meat and animal products, you know, backing off alcohol, and just so many different choices I've made for my health. But that Lugol solution, man, nothing has changed my life like getting on that stuff has. So do with that what you will. I'll be talking about it a lot more. It's basically what this channel's for. A lot of the stuff I want to talk about, I can't talk about because YouTube will censor you for that. So I'm trying to talk about sort of peripheral ideas, things, you know, throw my impressions on current events out here and there, but mostly just share the knowledge that I've amassed over all these years, you know, in preparation for 2020. Yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole, man. And a lot of the things that I know or mess around with or talk about to people, I don't really find them on the internet. It's gotten to a point where I find a lot of the pieces to puzzles on the internet, but I don't find my takeaways on the internet, like hardly at all, if at all. So maybe that means I have something valuable to share. And just to end it, I'm going to show you what I think the real gold is. That right there, that's what I'm really all about. Gotta grow that food. I'm a little behind this year. Been off working, and I just got back from 2 weeks in Hawaii. You know, during the mandate stuff. That was pretty interesting. So I still gotta yank all that crap out of there and do a bunch of work and try to get these in the ground. But hey, better late than never. You know, a lot of stuff will still produce a ton of food over the summer. And if current events are an indication of anything, it's that we're looking like we might be in for a bumpy ride this summer. Man, it's April, and I think we're about to hit a burn ban already. And out here, that's usually not until late June or early, you know, mid-June in the past. Earlier today, I threw a cigarette butt in our fire pit, and it literally caught the ashes back on fire. Just the coals, which pretty dang sure there wasn't a fire in there, you know, within 24 hours prior. So had to have been that spark. That's all it took. And you know, there's all kinds of talk on the internet about the stuff that gets sprayed, you know, over top, and how some of that makes plants and wood and anything basically extremely combustible, extremely flammable, at least. And I don't know, you know, they say we got climate change coming, and any of us who've been paying attention to the Suez Canal story, we know a thing or two about why the climate change narrative is suddenly hitting the rounds, just like clockwork, the last couple days. And you know, I have my theories about all that, but basically I think we're in for a worse fire year than last year. I think shit's gonna burn like crazy, but I'll do a different video about those ideas. All right, guys, peace. Well, it's quite an improvement. Got some plants in, a bunch of seed thrown out. That sprinkler pretty much reaches the whole thing, so the lady can just turn it on and off every evening. Herb garden over here. I gotta hit the road. Go back to work, doing electrical. But I want this garden to be bumping by the time I get back. So I gotta do the work, put in the time. This is pretty interesting garden approach. Pretty heavily based on the Back to Eden method. Should look that up. It's pretty interesting ideas, and some other things that I, you know, picked up along the way too. Not just one idea going on here, but whole idea really is that you shouldn't have to mess with it too much. Not to weed it and do a bunch of frickin' labor. You just plant it, water it, leave it. So I'm gonna leave it, and when I come back, probably have some big old plants going. Yeah. To be continued. For now, got some pots with me. I'm gonna grow some tomatoes in them pots. And I'm gonna try a couple of different things. One of those things being Ken Wheeler's trick of putting magnets underneath the pot. It's supposed to do some cool things with tomatoes. I'm gonna try it. Stay tuned.